Welcome to the Commercial Kitchen Chronicles, the original food service equipment repair podcast built by technicians for technicians. Whether you're on the front lines of repair, keeping the kitchen running smoothly, or just passionate about the food service repair industry, this podcast is your go-to source for expert insight, tech tips, and real stories from the field. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Commercial Kitchen Chronicles. I am your host, Pat Finley. I am joined by co-host Jason Latimer and special guest Scott Kline. But first, we got a pro tip from Commercial Kitchen Pros. Brought to you by our friends at Viper HVAC Cleaners. When it comes to keeping your commercial kitchen equipment running at peak performance, clean coils and evaporators are non-negotiable. That's where Viper's NSF-registered cleaning products come in. They're safe, powerful, and specifically designed to tackle grease and grime found in busy food service environments. Keep your refrigeration and HVAC systems efficient, extend equipment life, and avoid costly downtime. Trust Viper, the name in the industry relies on for professional-grade kitchen system maintenance. Thanks, Viper, for all your support and helping us out. Great products, even better people over there. They stand behind their stuff, and you can use them in the kitchen, and no one's going to yell at you for some crazy smelling chemicals or have to worry about getting into food, stuff like that. So what's going on, everybody?
Hey.
So we have Mr. Scott Kline on. I can't ever say his name on Instagram. I mean, I know it's supposed to be like HVACR, but
It's a HVACR.
But he spells it AYETCH VACR.
Yeah.
Every time I see it, I laugh. But that's what he goes by on Instagram. So he reached out, wanted to come on the show, and told me a little bit about his story. So we're going to go through how he got into the trades and everything he does. So welcome to the show, buddy.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, you want me to start off as square one?
Yeah, just start at square one. Like, you know,
All right.
What have you done? How you got into it? That kind of stuff. Where you?
What have I done? So we're going into my record.
Yeah. Please avoid anything that involves a cough. We don't want to bring that up.
The rap sheet.
Yeah.
The only rap sheet I've got is trespassing, riding BMX at various universities in Pennsylvania with my buddies. But I was an automotive technician here in Pennsylvania. It's where I grew up in central Pennsylvania. And I ran away to Fort Worth, Texas when I was 22 and just fell in love with Texas. I went to visit and just wanted to stay. It was like another planet. It was really a culture shock being there.
Yes, and Pennsylvania for sure.
Well, yeah, it's a different market as far as HVAC is concerned. It's a completely different market. Of course, I wasn't in HVAC when I got there, but I had a friend who came back from Iraq, and he started his own HVAC company with his dad, and he asked me to help him. He said, take a day off of work and I'll pay you, whatever you want, come and help me. And I was like, well, what are we doing? He's like, well, we're installing a heat pump and all new ductwork. And I had no idea what that meant, like none, because I never lived in a house that had central air. Most people up here in Pennsylvania have radiant heat. So that's what I was familiar with. Nobody had central air where in the houses that I lived in. So I spent the whole day, about 16 hours, pulling flex duct in an attic in Texas in the summer. And that was my baptism by fire. And they thought I was a good helper. So he offered me a full-time job. I was doing an install helper, going to school at night. Tarrant County Community College, best college in the United States for HVAC. They will tell you that themselves. Of course, I can't say because I haven't ever been to that college, but they'll tell you it's the best college for HVAC classes in the country. But they do very well. Great teachers. Shout out to Andy Reinfort. If anybody in Fort Worth is around, they know who Andy Reinfort is. Great teacher. Really class act guy. Taught me a lot. So I did residential installs. Became a lead installer for about 5 years, I guess, and then parted ways with my friend, got into business with another friend who wanted to do more commercial stuff, and worked for him and his brother-in-law, and that's where I got into working on commercial restaurant equipment, stuff like that. Pretty wide variety of stuff. Most of it was convenience stores, but in Dallas, Fort Worth, a lot of convenience stores have a grill, taco grills and all that stuff. Very common there. And if you ever worked in a place that has a taco grill going, there's just grease everywhere, just on everything.
Yeah,
So
grills are some of the nastiest things in the world, and that stuff just gets airborne and it goes everywhere.
well, in the kitchen is one thing, and then on the roof is the other problem, because you
Oh
get
yeah.
up on the roof, it's never an ideal situation, because the stores that I were in, it wasn't like the quick trips and speed racetrack they
Yeah.
have down there. They're really nice.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't Bucky's. It was like the lower tier places, where people get shot in the parking lot, past 9 p.m. It was those kind of places that I was working at. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, it wasn't Wawa. It was rough. It was scary.
So that's wild.
Um,
So most of those places, they didn't have a kitchen in them, and they just threw a hood stack in there anywhere they could fit it, and then
oh yeah.
so that's just dumping grease right into a coil of a rooftop unit or something
Yep.
like that.
So I learned real quick. 99% of the time, the problem was the equipment needed cleaned.
Mhm.
And that's all it was, because stuff was just covered in grease. So Viper products, the reason I know how good Viper products are, and they're not paying me to say this. Viper makes good stuff, and I know I used other products to clean before, and I got burned. Like they're so caustic, they actually ruined my glasses. You got little blowback, from the spray on my glasses, and it put, peeled off the coating on my lenses and burned my skin. So I said, I gotta find something better.
Yeah.
And of course, working in kitchens, you got to have a food safe product. So the first time I used Viper coil cleaners, I was like, oh my gosh, this stuff's like, it just works so good, and it's safe. So yeah, I've been using Viper products for a long, long time,
So
before they had Instagram.
So the reason I wear glasses, I think I may have told the story before, is I was cleaning a big V coil, and I was spraying on the underneath side in between the body of the unit and the coil, and the wind shifted, and I was using the blue, not Viper, but a different company, the blue stuff, the stuff, and not hardly diluted at all. The wind shifted and blew it right in my eyes.
Yeah.
I laid on this roof for a half hour with a hose in my eyes, literally crying, thought I was blind.
Yeah.
So now I wear glasses. I had to have bifocals before the age of 40.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably be trifocals here soon, the way it's going, it feels like.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I usually wear glasses because I'm actually blind in my right eye. So I got to be really careful with stuff, especially chemicals. The only reason I'm not wearing glasses now is because I was having trouble seeing earlier. So I have a contact in my one good eye. I have all kinds of issues. So I have one contact, and I wear reading glasses if I got to read now. But yeah.
So Scott, you're not getting any younger, is what you're saying?
I don't think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the opposite. But I think HVAC also accelerates the aging process quite a bit, because most of the time when I wake up Friday morning, I think I'm like 80. By the time the end of the week is rolling around, it catches up on you.
Right, try to sleep the weekend off, and you blink your eyes, and you start all over again. It's like, what just happened to my rest period?
Yeah, no, the weekend's worse. I have 3 kids. Pat and I were talking about the swimming pool. I mean, I got no time for rest, Jason. It's 24/7 around here.
What's the age, if you don't mind sharing?
Me?
The kids. Yeah.
He doesn't care about how old I am.
Yeah, you look like you're 44, brother.
Jason says he's old enough. It doesn't matter anymore. So I have 3 girls, 17, 13, and 10.
Nice. I have 4 girls, 26, 25, 17, and 12.
Wow. That's awesome, man. Congratulations. I love
Thank
having girls. I wanted to have a boy in the worst way. The doctor said it wouldn't be a good idea for us to have any more kids because they were turning out so poorly. Actually, it was because my wife, but
I don't know how serious you're being right now.
Yeah, I know. No, well, you obviously don't look at my Instagram. I'm not very serious. All I do is throw curveballs.
Yeah.
I love having daughters, though. It's
I do too.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to some awesome son-in-laws and some grandsons. I'm looking forward to roughing them up.
I'm already looking forward to being a grandparent someday. I think it's going to be great.
That's funny. So
we got off topic really quick. I blame Jason.
It happens.
about family. It's all about your life, brother. It's all good.
Yeah.
Let's get back to that first day. So your first day, you're in an attic. It's probably 130 degrees up there. What made you decide, hey, I want to try this? Like, yeah, sure, I'll do this. Like, you sent me in the attic my first day for 12 hours pulling ductwork in an attic in Texas. In the summer, I'm gonna be like, no, I'm never coming back. I wouldn't have lasted all day.
So I at the time I was working in a warehouse, so it wasn't very exciting, and it was going nowhere. Like I thought it would be. I had just gotten married. We just had our well, and actually, yeah, we hadn't had our first daughter yet. But I thought, I need to get a career, that kind of mindset.
Mm-hmm.
But I realized that I really wasn't going to make that much money managing a warehouse. And it wasn't very exciting. I was into it because it was bicycles. That's always been my passion as when I was younger, was riding BMX, being in the bicycle industry. I wanted to do something in that industry. And that was, that's just where I landed. And I had friends that worked there, and then they moved on. So when my buddy asked me to work for him, what I liked was working with my friends because, and I liked that aspect of it. And I liked that it was challenging. I like to be challenged. And I knew it was something that not anybody could just walk in and do it. And they liked my hustle. And they were like, listen, if you want to do this, we'll send you to school and you can do whatever you want. And I was like, okay, I'm in. Why not? I'm not taking a pay cut. I got a little bit of a raise, and I got to do something different. So I've always, I get bored easy. I've had so many different jobs because I get bored easy. But HVAC I've been doing for 18 years because it's always a challenge. It's always something new to learn. You just can't know it all, and you guys have probably been there where you get to a point and you're like, you know what? I've really mastered this. I'm really good at this now, and you get a little cocky, and then you run into something you never saw before, and you're like, oh my gosh, what is this?
Right.
And then you get humbled a little bit, right?
Yeah, I try not to have those days because it's anytime you have a day where you think you know it all, like the simplest thing the next day is just gonna make you look like the biggest idiot in the world. So I try not to let my ego get the best of me, but sometimes you do it, and then next day,
I do it.
You're absolutely humbled by the dumbest thing in the world. I'm like,
yep.
How did I let this get this far out of control? Like, it's because you went to step 7 and it was really step 2 is where the problem was, but you were so far past it, and like you were invested at that point. No, it can't be this. It's got to be this.
Yeah, that's right. You start making assumptions based on your experience, and you skip the first step, and that's where we get into trouble. You get off track right at the get-go.
Dude, I did that with a manufacturer one day. Like, it was rationale. I'll admit it. I don't care. I mean, I admit it. It's nothing against rationale. It's my own stupidity. So, like, I called rationale, and like I just started. They asked a question. I just like unloaded everything I'd done, and like I just kept going and going and going. And he's like, well, did you check this? I was like, no, we were so far past that. And like eventually the guy's like, no, let's check this. And I checked it, and I was like, oh my God, I just hung up. I was like, click. I was like, oh, dude, that was terrible. I was like, I feel so small and so dumb now. And I didn't give him the satisfaction. Oh, he got the satisfaction because he knew when I hung up that that he was right and I was wrong. But yeah, he answered the phone, and I just like started unloading everything I'd done. And he was like, slow down, slow down, slow down. I'm like, no, it's not this. It's like, I don't care what your little book tells you.
Yeah, we all have that weakness where we get a little bit of pride and we think we got all the answers, but it always has a way of coming back to square one. You got to follow your troubleshooting steps the same every time, not make too many assumptions. But it's funny, going back to my first day, the other guy I was working with, not the owner, but another helper, they said to him, can you wire up the heat pump? It was a heat pump. Hey, they said, can you wire the outdoor unit, the control wiring? He said, yep, got it. So later on, we go to start up the system and the fuse blew. So we go outside to the outdoor unit. And again, like, it's my first day. I don't know what's right, what's wrong. I have no idea what's going on. But I remember he had all the control wires in one wire nut, all of them, all the unit wires and all the control wires from the thermostat in one wire nut.
Oh my
goodness. I remember my buddy Nick going, this is not how you wire a heat pump. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll make a note of that, not to do that.
That's how you learn, though, man. It's the stuff that embarrasses you.
Well, he gave it a try, which is more than I was willing to do.
I always say, if it embarrassed me, if it hurts me, Those two things will make me remember every time.
Oh yeah. Well, I learned everything the hard way. I mean, I was so poorly trained. I really was. I struggled. My friend and I, we didn't communicate very well. So like I'm trying to learn in the field and I'm learning going to classes at night, but it took a long time for it to click for me. And what it took was RTFM.
Oh yeah.
I had to sit down and open because I never saw anybody open the manual.
Mm-hmm.
They just put it in the packet, put it in a folder, gave it to the customer. They never opened it. When I started reading the manual, what I saw in the unit and what I saw in the book and what I was learning in class all came together. And I was like, oh, why didn't somebody just tell me it was this simple? And then from there, I was unstoppable. I've just keep learning. I'm one of those people that I have to read to learn. I learn with my hands, but I learn from reading too. And you learn so much by reading the manual. Mm-hmm. And I've made so many seasoned guys look bad because they skip things thinking they know it when they didn't read the manual. And I'm like, look, it's right here. Just do what they said in the book and it'll be all right. It's not that hard.
Yeah, it's amazing what's in those books if you just open them up or take the time.
Sorry, Jason.
No, I was going to add what you were saying. I remember almost every aha moment I've had that was related to what I probably heard in school but didn't understand at the time, but then it clicked. And I've said this story on here where I had heating elements in an old Hobart flat grill at Steak and Shake, and there was no writing on the heating element, so I had to do Ohm's law. And when I called tech support, I'm like, hey, there's no writing on this heating element. What do I do? They're like, well, Ohm's law. And I was like, oh. So I did that. I was just like, it's this many watts. And they're like, there you go. I was like, holy shit, I learned that in school.
Yes.
Years ago. I just never had to apply it. And that was the aha. I was just like, damn, there we go.
Absolutely. Yeah, critical stuff.
It's amazing what basics will teach you.
Yeah.
They come back to you when you need them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sometimes, some days they don't for me. I got to sit down and drink a cup of coffee and go, now, how do I do this again? That's my problem now is I don't do that much troubleshooting anymore. Like my business, I've been a service technician forever, but since I started my business, I'm doing more installs than anything. I didn't really expect that. But then I go out troubleshooting. I'm like, it's been a minute since I've had to figure something out, because you do so many installs. It's not autopilot, but it's, you don't have to think that hard about, what's going on. You've done a few installs. It comes pretty easy, but.
So let's get back to when you made the jump over to commercial. What was that like going from residential to commercial? I mean, that's a totally different world. Like,
yeah, it was from doing installs. Like I wasn't even a residential service technician.
Oh, nice. That's even worse.
Yeah. So I got put in a truck and I was working on all this stuff that I'd never worked on before. And Jason said about the aha moment. Most of our clients were convenience stores. They're independent convenience stores. So if you're ever in North Texas, there are about 30 some odd Easy Marts, capital E, capital Z Mart. And we had all those stores. And most of them had old equipment. I mean, like stuff from the 70s. There was one store, I think it was in Rockwall, and the walk-in condenser was I think it was a Singer. It had a semi-hermetic compressor, and the coil, the condenser coil was just a roll of copper tubing laid flat, and it was connected into the circuit that way. There were no fins on it at all. It was just a big roll of copper tubing, and the fan was on top of it. And that was a condenser coil. I was like, that's different. So I saw all kinds of weird stuff, and every store was different. I didn't work on anything new. It was all old junk. But the nice thing about it was we could do whatever we wanted. That was the contract. Like we just had to make it work. Like we got paid a flat monthly fee and we fixed everything. So I was working out, 3 a.m., whatever. It was all the time because it's always hot there in the summertime. But the aha moment. So I'm working on ice machines now for the first time. And again, I'm reading the manual, but I'm frustrated because I'm like, I felt like I needed a class. So I talked to my boss and I was like, look, you got to send me on a class. Send me to a class so I can learn this because I don't know anything about ice machines. And this is what he said. He said, it's just a damn air conditioner. And I was like, oh, yeah, it is. It has a condenser, has an evaporator, has an expansion valve, compressor. I'm looking for superheat and subcool. I need water flow instead of airflow across the evaporator. And I was like, oh, he's right. Like it really is that simple because I knew how to troubleshoot a refrigeration circuit. And, that's all it was. But in my mind, because it looked different than what I was used to, it just had me all freaked out. So once I got that figured out, and I learned not to put a 24-volt contactor coil on an ice machine because they don't use 24 volts. And I did that in front of a customer. I was like, yes, sir, I'll change this contactor out for you. Like I said, I learned everything the hard way. Let the smoke out of the contactor coil in front of the customer. He's like, why did you do that? I was like, I have no idea. That was the first time I saw a contactor that had a coil voltage that was anything other than 24 volts.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Is that across the board, or is it just coincidentally what he's working on?
It's probably coincidentally what he's working on because I've seen 24 volts. So it just depends. Everything nowadays has relay boards built into control boards and stuff like that.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I know I worked at McDonald's. We worked on those Mac units, and they're master built, and they share the walk-ins, the ice machine, and both walk-ins, the ice machine, and the cooling tower for the soda machines. And those transformers are actually 120. And I let the smoke out a few times trying to figure that out, trying to save so if the Mac unit goes down, all four of those things go down: the walk-in, the ice machine, and both walk-ins and whatnot in the soda station at a McDonald's. And I was just like, damn, I know for a fact I need to pack some. I need to have 24, 120, and 208 freaking transformers in my truck at all times.
Yeah.
And so carry on. Sorry.
Yeah, we had a call for one of those. I'm not sure if it was Masterbuilt, what brand it was. I think
it's Bowen or Masterbuilt.
Yeah.
So it's the ones with the new big green dial.
I'd have to look and see. I didn't run it. No, someone else ran it. So like there was a leak in the condenser coil, and they pulled in one of the sections, and they already pulled the walk-in freezer off. We got called out for a leak in the walk-in cooler, and then so we were going to pull that off and put it on its own standalone unit. So the only thing left in there would have been the multiplex or the soda tower thing.
The multiplex, yeah.
And someone was like, "We'll just change the coil in that." And I was like, "No." I was like, "It's 3 systems." I'm like, "Good luck finding that coil for one." Because it's an old store, but yeah. Get off on a little tangent here. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Hey, Brian called it intelligent. Thank you, Brian. Go ahead. We're very interactive with between the interview and the comments.
Yeah, good.
So yeah, I mean, gas stations. I mean, so they had you do is working on everything there pretty much. And if they're paying a flat fee, they're calling you no matter what time of the day it is.
Yep.
Saturday, Sunday, they don't care. They're paying. They pay that fee. They're getting their money's worth. So.
Oh yeah. They ran us all over the place, all over North Texas. Put a lot of miles on my truck.
How'd those guys stay in business doing that?
Well, you can probably guess.
Yeah. So how long were you down there in Texas? I know you were doing some commercial. I know you got licensed in Texas, so you must have been doing it down there long enough to get licensed. So
yep. So yeah, right after I started doing that gig, my friend and his brother-in-law decided to part ways in business.
Mm-hmm.
So my friend had all the convenience store connections. Like that was his business model. He wanted to do convenience stores.
Poor guy.
And in retrospect, I was like, this is a terrible idea. But I had the know-how and the experience. In Texas, you have to have, I think it's 72 months of verified experience in the field before you can sit for the state exam to get licensed. So I had that. So I went ahead and applied, and I sat for the Class B, which is up to 25 tons refrigeration and comfort cooling. So I have it's called a combined license, and that allowed us to start our own business, just the two of us. So I was 50% owner of the business. and we did everything. We did rental properties. I did some high-end residential stuff for some clients, a lot of convenience store stuff. We had at least 5 people working for us the one summer, and we did a whole bunch of stuff. And it was a lot of fun. It really was. I worked way too much. That was around the time my second daughter was born. I worked way too much and really didn't make much money, but I learned a lot. I learned a lot, and it was a really good experience. Really was. I think it set me up for the future. So I got burned out pretty good. So that was around 2015. I decided, my wife and I decided to pack up the family. After we had our third daughter, we decided to pack up and move back to Pennsylvania. So I became a satellite company in Pennsylvania and kept doing my own thing. And I just got burned out up here because it's such a different market here. It's like it's just not the same. And I did it for about a year, and I said, you know what, I need a break and go work for some other people and just be a service technician and not have to run a business. So I did that, and that was a good experience. I enjoy just doing service work. That's challenging enough, but at some point, go ahead. Are you awake, Pat?
Yeah, I'm awake. It's nothing personal, not you. So I've never done any residential HVAC work. Like, I had a new furnace put in my house. I bought it because I got a deal on it, and I had someone else install it and do the duct work and stuff, and I did the final connections. I've never been one to do much residential. People always ask me, like, oh, you work in kitchens, it's nasty. I'm like, you work in people's houses, that's probably equally nasty, if not.
It is. Absolutely is.
So I do not knock anybody that does residential work. There's a different type of person.
I won't do it.
It has its own challenges. It can be very challenging when you work for somebody else, because if they call the company and the company sends you, you're going to fix it. I mean, if you say, I'm not going in there. I went into a lady's house once. It was a trailer, mobile home. There's 2 older ladies there. They did not shower. It stank. Like, you could smell it from the porch, just body odor. Old ladies, they're sitting in the recliner with the little absorbent pads they're sitting on because they can't hold their bladder. I walk in, I'm not exaggerating at all, man. I walk in, dog pees on the floor right in front of me. They just throw a paper towel on it. They don't sop it. They just lay a paper towel on it. And I look around and there's paper towels laying all over the place. So they need hot water. So I'm like, okay, I'm like holding my breath. I walk down the hallway. There's like holes in the floor. Like the place is falling apart. I had to drain their water heater through a hole in the floor. That I had a short piece of hose. I connected it to the water heater drain and I stuffed it through the hole in the floor. That's how I drained their water heater. I changed the elements out in the water heater. Dead mice everywhere, dog feces everywhere. And I called the owner and I said, I'm not doing this. He said, you're doing it. And I was like, I'm not doing it. He's like, you're doing it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it, but I'm doing it for them. I'm not doing it for you, because I wanted them to have hot water.
That was the landlord?
No, that was my boss at the time.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and I quit working there shortly after that.
Would you say that hole in the ground was designed for you to drain that water heater?
God put it there specifically to make my job quick and easy.
Bro, I was going to say, you're doing God's work. Those ladies,
I don't know why the hole in the floor was there.
Whatever their situation is, you got them hot water. So,
so like, I remember telling the dispatcher, I was like, this is bad. Like, somebody needs to help these people. They don't need hot water. They need to leave this place. And she was a social worker of some kind. I forget what it was, but she was somebody that reported to authorities if children were in trouble and older people and stuff like that, like abuse victims. I forget what it was called, but I told her and she called somebody and I think they got some help. I think they got them out of there, but it was pretty bad.
Good.
Yeah. Residential can be awful.
Really I have a fear of residential, aside from the fact that I live in Florida, and annually between Florida and Texas, unfortunately, brethren, they lose their lives every year because of the heat up in these attics, and I'm not sure if it's more newer technicians or seasoned technicians that might just like, I can power through it, but it's super dangerous. But yeah, man, you're the residential. I'm afraid of death because I just don't want to be in people's personal space. And at the end of the day, here in Florida, I feel like there's a place for residential, and I'm sure there's great residential techs and companies that do right by the customer. But here in Florida, the last thing I want to do is pry a Social Security check out of some old lady's hand because they need their unit changed out. And I'd rather go after corporate who has, capital expenditures and budgeted and things like that, and leave the residential to other people who can handle that. But it just breaks my heart to be in the situation.
Yeah. So easy to fix brings up a good point. He says residential means you wear footies.
You wear a whole suit, a whole hazmat suit in some cases, right?
I've heard stories of like people like there's like the floors are all stained and there's like dog crap and cat crap and the customer's like, you gotta put booties on. He's like,
dirty my floor.
You put the booties on so you don't get fleas on your shoes.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you don't want to take those fleas home.
That's awesome.
He just looked around like, seriously, you want me to wear booties?
Okay, so you want to hear a hazmat suit story?
Yes,
please.
So when I was working for my buddy initially doing installs, I think I was the lead installer at the time. We went to this, and I was there with him when we went to go look at the job. Okay, they were doing a house reno. The lady comes to the door. She's got shorts on and like a tank top. She is covered head to toe in bites. Insect bites, head to toe. And I'm looking at her, I'm like, what is wrong with this woman? And she starts telling us about this rat infestation they had and how the rats had mites and fleas and they were getting eaten alive in their sleep by these bugs. And I'm like, I ain't going in there. I'm like, are you crazy? I don't want to take that home. So my buddy goes in there, he quotes the job, they accept the bid for it, and it was like the full cut in the equipment, ductwork, everything. And I'm like, I'm not doing that job. I said, I'm not getting all bit up in that nasty place with rats and who knows what all and taking it home. And he's like, well, what if I quote it high enough that you have to wear a hazmat suit or whatever? And I was like, okay, if I have to wear a full suit with a respirator and everything, then I'll do it.
You're giving me a bonus to help you as well. I'd be like,
oh yeah,
you're going to make worthwhile, but
I wasn't trying to be difficult. I'm like, this is a safety issue. I'm like, we're going to die. We're going to get hantavirus in here and pass away. That's going to be the end.
I've seen her, her wounds. I don't want those wounds myself.
She was covered. Her arms, legs, neck, face. I mean, like, what is happening? What are you doing living here?
Oh, that's terrible. People are wild, man. So
people can tolerate unbelievable situations. I did one. This customer called and said they needed ductwork repaired. I go in the basement. The ductwork is all shredded because there's 1,700 cats in the basement going crazy. They're inside the duct and they're trying to get out and they shred through the ductwork. So I'm there. I'm like, okay, so there's like couple pieces I got to replace. It wasn't a big deal. It stank terrible. I was like, okay, this won't be too bad. So I'm working down there and I hear this really strange noise. So I'm curious and I'm like, yeah, it sounds like an animal of some kind. So I go back in the corner of the basement. There's like a separate, like a garage, like you could drive a lawn tractor in one end of the garage in the basement. And I look in there and there's a pig living in the basement, like a giant full-size pig, like just waiting for Thanksgiving or something. And it's just in there in a pile of straw, pooping and peeing all over on the floor in the basement of their house. And I was just like, that's wild. I have video of that somewhere. Zoo. I don't know where it is, but I have that on video. Yeah, that's pretty wild.
You said petting zoo.
Yeah.
Cats destroying ductworks. Cats using flex duck as plate. Pig in the corner.
I got out of there.
So, it's a big change going from Texas to Pennsylvania. Did you have to learn a lot over, like start over?
Yeah, I did, because the way they design systems here is different. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of hydronics here.
Mm-hmm.
I hated hydronics when I first moved here working on boilers because it was so unfamiliar to me. I didn't know anything about it. It's just like when I first started working on ice machines, it just freaked me out because it was something different. Mm-hmm. And it was a challenge. there's so much hydronics here. I knew I had to learn it. So I started getting books, following people on Instagram who do, you know, like Flintstone, Hydrotech out in California,
Yep.
lots of I mean Kyle Hatch, a lot of those guys that do boiler installs, and I'm like zooming in on all their install pictures to look at the piping and try to figure out how it works and what's going on. I got Dan Holohan's books. I started reading Kalefi's Hydronics magazine, which is awesome. What an incredible resource. Kalefi's just, man, they're just the best. The resources they have out there for free, YouTube videos and everything. So I'm learning all this stuff. Now I love hydronics. It's like my favorite thing because it's kind of new to me. So the past 5 years I've been learning that, but I had to learn oil heat too because they have a lot of oil heat up here. They don't have oil heat in Texas. In Texas, for heat, you got electric heat, 80% furnaces, not high efficiency furnaces. I worked on one high efficiency, 90% condensing furnace, and the whole time I worked in Texas. Here, they're pretty much all high efficiency now, or heat pump. So heat pumps, they have a lot of heat pumps here now, but you never know what you're going to see when you walk into somebody's basement. Today, I went to look at a job. There's an oil-fired boiler there and a coal stove with homemade ductwork attached to it. Gravity warm air ductwork. So it's always, I mean, the sky's the limit up here. I mean, there's so many farmers here that cobble together their own stuff, trying to save a buck. Still a lot of people heat with coal up here. It's not as inexpensive as it used to be. Coal has gotten to be pretty expensive. So a lot of people are getting away from coal because it's still a lot of work, emptying out the ashtray and stoking the fire and all that stuff. You'd be amazed at how old school people can be. But that's been a real challenge. And because where I'm at, I'm in the middle of nowhere. So there's no codes, there's no inspectors. I've never had a job inspected since I've been up here. Nobody cares. It's just the Wild West. Like anything goes. So half the time you come in, you got to guess at everything. You have to question everything. Was this done right to begin with? Was a load calculation ever done? Is this even close to being correct? And most of the time it's not. Which in a way is good because I get to start from scratch. I get to say, look, your ductwork's no good. This is wrong. This is wrong. This is what I'm offering you. And I get to start with a clean slate. And it always works out better if you can do it that way.
Yeah, I've seen horror stories about ductwork being improperly sized, oversized units. That's wild to me because I don't do a whole ton of HVAC. I do mainly kitchen stuff. We get a couple customers will do some units for mostly package units. There's occasional splits, but
yep,
the whole ductwork thing boggles my mind because it's foreign to me. But I always enjoy watch people talk about it or figure it out or that kind of stuff. So. I'm like you. I always want to be learning. I always want to try to figure something out that's new. I don't want to be satisfied. If I get stuck in a rut, I get kind of bored. So I don't want to sit there too long. So I want to learn more stuff. And
right
when I see, you talk about Flintstone, watching his videos and doing some stuff, and some of those other guys, it's like it's cool to see a different side of the trade. And you never know what you're going to learn. Even if I don't ever do any boiler work, I still learn something from them. So
it never hurts to just pay attention. There's just, like I said, there's just so much to know. Like I've kind of done my bit with refrigeration, and I have some refrigeration customers up here, but honestly, it's not that much fun anymore. Like it was more fun before when that was like what I did. But now that I have my own business, I can kind of direct which direction I want to go. And to be honest, there's a lot more money for me in residential stuff because I think a lot of homeowners do everything based on who they trust. For whatever reason, homeowners trust me. I really get that a lot. So I use that to my advantage. That's a huge asset that, when you're doing refrigeration work, they don't really care so much if they like your personality. They want you to get out of their way so they can make a submarine sandwich, and they want their make line to work. They want the ice machine to work, and they want it done cheap.
Yeah.
Around here, it's not like, when I worked for the other company, we had some restaurants. You know, we had a Red Robin. We did everything for Red Robin.
Boy,
And that was, you know, I liked that. That was fine, you know. But it's just not as much fun as it used to be.
did your Red Robins have the multi condenser stuff on the roof? Like all of their stuff was remoted on their cooking lines and stuff.
No, the only thing they had on the roof was the walk-in cooler and freezer.
You were lucky. So like
Yeah.
my stores, I forget how, I used to take care of a bunch of them around Central Indiana, and they all had the I don't know what brand it is, but like you'll see them in Chris Stevens videos all the time. His aren't there, but it's just all your compressors on the roof, and just a bunch of different series of coils. Guys call it a rack. It's not a rack. It's just like a multi condenser unit up on the roof.
Yeah.
Nothing was ever marked right, and like it didn't make it didn't make sense how they group things.
Yeah.
Like it'd be like drawers over here on one side, and then like across the serving line there'd be like a cold well for the waitresses, and like those two would be together. I'm like what? Who figured this out? I'm like,
yeah.
And then
that does not sound like fun.
No, and then it was just an absolute nightmare to work on. And
yeah,
they finally started getting smart, and like when they started losing coils and stuff, they just like start cutting stuff out, and we'd go in and they'd cut it out, and we'd bring new equipment in, and it was definitely for the better to get rid of some of that stuff. So
yeah, now what was I gonna say? I just lost it.
I got that effect on people.
Yeah. They were just starting to get in R290 stuff. I think it was Delfield.
Oh yeah.
And I never had to open one up, so I never got to play with that. But I just liked working on old stuff. But that was the store that I think I might have told this story on another podcast, but that was the store that I went there one night, and it was like 4:00, and their walk-in freezer was at like 30 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
And I go up on the roof, and I can't remember I think it was a 3-phase, but it was R22, and the compressor just wouldn't start. So I think I put a new contactor on it, and it just wouldn't start. So the closest United is an hour away.
Mm-hmm.
So I called them. They had the compressor. I called the shop. I said, send somebody down there to get this compressor. So he's running to get the compressor, and the box is getting warm fast. And I'm like, okay, the only thing I know left to do is pray. So I prayed. I said, Lord, I need this compressor to run one more time, just one more cycle, pull the box down, and then my customer will have to throw away all their stuff. So I prayed that prayer. I threw the disconnect, and that sucker came on.
Nice.
And it ran until the stat satisfied. And when it satisfied, like 10 minutes after that, the guy showed up with the compressor, and they didn't lose any food. Good. It works.
Yeah, that's the worst call in the world. And we have a friend of ours, the co-host, Rich. He started his own business. He says it all the time. Like it'll be like 8:00 at night, and he sends us a text, our group text. He's like, I just got a walk-in freezer call. He says it's 40 degrees and it was fine this morning.
Yeah.
He's like that freezer ain't ran in 2 days. It's like it's 40 degrees because everything thawed out. It's like everything was frozen 2 days ago.
Yep.
It's like no, and he gets so mad and worked up. I'm like, just go take their money, dude. Just go take their money. Like you're not going to turn it away. Like I know, and he's like me. Once you vent and you go do it, it is what it is. But you got to get it out to somebody. And but yeah. He had a strain of them like all week where it was like every night, like 7:00. Hey, our freezer's at 32 degrees. Our freezer's at 40 degrees. Like your freezer was at 25 degrees at 8:00 this morning. Why didn't you call it in?
Yeah, it's because stores don't do the shift check the temperatures each shift. They used to do that back in the day where there was a log and the shift came in. They checked everything. They wrote the temperatures down, and then they went about their business. And if they do that every shift, there's no issue. But instead, I get a frozen evaporator that's probably a foot thick at like 1 a.m, and they're like, yeah, this afternoon it wasn't frozen like that.
I know. Every time. Oh, it wasn't like that this morning.
Yeah, with the plastic garbage can wrapped around the handle of the walk-in door. Yeah.
I like it. Like, no, we got the logbook right here. It was 34 degrees. I'm like, it's been 34 degrees for 37 weeks.
Yeah,
it's about 34 degrees every single time you check this thing. I don't care what you say.
Yeah,
I don't believe it. I got a school system that does it, man. And they're the nice people in the world, and they're just lazy. Like, oh, they just write the same temperature. They write the same exact time and the same exact temperature every single day. And their boss is like, I know they're lying, but I can't do it.
Yeah,
for real.
He's like,
restaurants have like a very low quality of worker for the most part these days. Like they're half of them are stoned. I mean, like Red Robin was hilarious because they have the music in the store, and then the back kitchen had their own radio, and they were blasting just the most obscene stuff. Like, unbelievable. I'm just working back there. I'm like, how does this music even exist? Like, I'm kind of sheltered, but I was like, oh my gosh, this is awful. And they're just walking around like it's completely normal.
All my Red Robin music sounds like circus music.
Well, I'll say to defend some of the restaurants is that a lot of them are high school kids, especially after 4 o'clock. You get a bunch of kids that are 14 years old at the very minimum, and they don't care. You know, if they're not, you know, they treat. I'm sure they treat everything at the restaurant just like they treat things at home. You know, you're like, hey, do you leave your refrigerator open at home? Do you slam that refrigerator door?
Yeah.
They're like, you know, but they're kids for the most part, and then you do have, the older folk that are treating things as they want. But yeah, I think a lot of it has to be a lot with younger kids and whatnot.
So, Jason, I mean, I'm not saying you work for it, but do any of your stores or chains use remote monitoring so they don't have to keep a temperature log anymore?
They don't, and I heard they used to, and a lot of companies, you know, even prior to me being an in-house employee, when I worked at the service company, a lot of companies, they have it set up and they're like, yeah, we just went away from it. We just didn't see the value and stuff like that, you know? So
I've got a school and they had it set up to call the maintenance guy or page the maintenance guy. And he kept getting mad because he didn't set enough time delay in it. So when they were getting like a frozen food truck, it'd set it off and it would send him a message. So he just disabled it, dude. And they lost, they lost in a matter of 3 months. They lost 2 walk-in freezers out of school.
Oh, that's a job right there. That's your job.
They lost all their food. And I was like, dude, you got a monitor in there. He's like, oh yeah, I turned it off because it annoys me when they get a truck. And I was like, you just lost like $40,000 of food. And he was like, yeah, he didn't care because it's not his government money. It is what it is. And I'm like,
unbelievable.
Yeah, I don't mind those things as long as they're more than one person. Not one person can be responsible for monitoring any piece of equipment or a location or multiple locations. It needs to go to the people who have a stake in it, the owner, the GM or the managing partner. I mean, yeah, it comes down to me, but someone's got to be able to catch it. But I mean, for him to turn it off like that and to lose $40,000 worth of, I'd have a conversation with him. But you got to set the expectations. If that was the expectations with that employee that he was supposed to monitor it, that's on him. You know, that's the expectation set.
Yeah, it's interesting the different standards, like at schools, or if you're in some kind of a hospital or doctor's office or whatever, anywhere they're feeding people, like elderly people, you know, they have all these standards about, like you said, monitoring the temperature of the walk-in cooler and all this stuff. And those things really should be done. And then I'm thinking about, I used to work at this one store that had a taqueria in Dallas, right by all the strip clubs. And oh my gosh, the traffic in that place at night was unbelievable. But they sold tacos, but like they'd be chopping onions on like a bread crate, you know, and they'd set it right on the garbage can, and there's cockroaches everywhere. And they were just selling tacos and cranking them out like you wouldn't believe. I mean, you know, you pull the condenser out from under the true cooler, you know, and there's like baby cockroaches coming out of the start components and everything. Like, but those people, they couldn't get enough of those tacos. They didn't care what temperature the walk-in was.
Dude, I had a place like that, man. It was a Chinese buffet, and it was the busiest one in town, dude. And every 2 months, I'd have to go in there and change the contactors and the dish machine because it quit heating or the pump would quit running. And what happens is those cockroaches, that heat generated from that contactor, they go and they live in there. Eventually, so many of them get smashed in there. So much cockroach feces is in there, they wouldn't close anymore. And I just literally, they'd would come in. I'd go to Supply House. I'd grab 2 contactors. I'd go there, shut the breaker off, change the contactors, turn the breaker back on, and come on. I wouldn't even watch it get all the way 10, but I just see it start heating, pull the amp draws, and I just leave. I'm like, see you later. I'm not sticking around for this mess.
I think you posted a video about that once. I think I remember seeing you doing that.
Talking about it, dude, it's
don't
bother me. Like, I mean, if they jump on me, they bother me, but like, I'm just telling them like it is what it is.
Not my favorite.
I wear those meta glasses sometimes to make some videos, and I had a video where I was like, I think I said it's always polite to knock before you enter someone's home, and it was like a control compartment on a tray conveyor. And I dropped it. You could just watch the roaches scatter, and I put the lid back up and gave them a second because if you once they scatter, they'll stay scattered. You put you cover it back up for a minute, you can drop it back down. They're gone. They're in the conduits. They're hidden. And I dropped it down, and one came lunging and jumped at my face. And my son's with me. He just started. And I was like, "Oh, I'm screaming all kinds of obscenities, trying to get this thing off me, dude." I was like, "Yeah, that's what I get for being a smart alegan." So,
let me just say about strip club food in my utes. Previous life, that was some of the best food. I'll just tell you right now. I don't know about the roaches and all that.
I always wanted to try those tacos because the meat looked amazing. What's it called when they put the meat on the steak and it spins like the vertical? You know what I'm talking about?
Like a skewer or a shish kebab.
Yeah, it's like a big skewer, and they pack the meat on it like a big cone. Oh, it rotates.
They do that with the Greek stores.
Yeah.
The lamb, and I
can't remember what it's called, but that's
heroes
what they had.
Or gyros or.
I always wanted to try it. There, those guys. I mean, the guys that worked there were always really cool. They're all Mexican, and they were always like, "Hey, you want a taco? We'll make a taco." And I was always like, "Oh, I gotta run," and then I go to Sonic and just get whatever they had in the drive-thru because I didn't have to work at Sonic.
That wasn't
so I didn't know.
Bro, I'll tell you that right
now.
I
know, but I didn't know what their kitchen was like, and I can't know what the kitchen is like. Once I know what the kitchen is like, I can't eat there anymore.
I will never share those videos and photos of my repairs at some of those places.
I don't do it either.
The only Chinese place I ever worked at, they had a problem with their water heater. It was a gas water heater, and there was a mouse nest in the burner. And I was like, "Hey, you've got mice or rats or whatever." And I was like, "Yeah, not really that surprised, I guess."
Cute mice, not cute rats.
Yeah. Well, they had food out. Like I got there, they weren't even open yet. I got there and there's food laying out from the day before, sushi or whatever, just left on the counter all night. I was like,
no one does. Oh, that's
where's
disgusting.
the health department here?
Yeah, I don't know, man. There's places like Waffle House that you expect for it to be nasty, and it's delicious. I like Waffle House dirty. I expect it, and I want it. It's just their food's great. I've never been in there in any kind of mindset in my utes that it mattered, but if I look at a lot of the places I've worked at that I've repaired equipment in certain types of atmospheres. And I've never actually fixed anything at a Waffle House because every issue there is visible from the counter, but their food's great. So I look at I've fixed woks at Chinese places and stuff like that, and they are nasty, but they don't get a pass like Waffle House gets a pass.
The Waffle House gets a pass because of violence.
I don't know. Their food's good, dude. I mean,
violence.
I've never had a bad experience. I've never had a bad culinary experience at Waffle House a day in my life. I don't mind stopping there and eating. It's not the cleanest, but I like it.
I gotta look this up. I want to know. You guys need to understand how far out in the sticks I am. I'm gonna look up and see where the closest Waffle House is.
Dude, there's a Waffle House near everyone.
Oh, there's one in Harrisburg. I didn't know that. That's only an hour away.
Okay,
that's an hour away. Look at that.
Now I've never told myself, man, I want a Waffle House so bad that I'm willing to drive an hour away. I'm just not there yet.
If you see it, like, hey, that sounds good, I'll just swing in.
Yeah, see, when I drive by Waffle House, it doesn't really pull me in like that. I'm going somewhere else, I think.
Yeah, but it's the environment, like the Friday nights at like 2 a.m, Saturday nights 2 a.m, like the drunk people come stumbling.
Yeah, it's a little risky. It makes the food taste good. I'm just saying.
I think it's hangovers or something.
You know, it's funny. I can appreciate a good steak. I'm in the steak industry, and I love a good steak.
Oh yeah.
But never say no to those little centimeter thick T-bones they have at Waffle House with over medium eggs and some shredded hash browns and a bunch of ketchup all day.
I don't know how they can slice them so thin. I want to know if they're throwing on the grill frozen and like they just like thaw and cook at the same time.
Yeah, if the freezer's working, it's frozen. Yeah.
Yeah, Mike B is making a good point here. So I live in Florida, right? And anytime a Waffle House doesn't close unless it's a natural disaster. If there's a Waffle House closed in your market, you better seek shelter.
Right on. So if there's a tornado and I'm hungry, I know I can at least go to Waffle House and probably they're still open.
Yeah, and if
when
it's
everybody
not,
else is
you
taking
better run
off.
for the hills. Yeah, look over your shoulder.
That's funny. So, you work for yourself. Are you just you, or do you have any employees, or how? What's that like?
It's just me. It's only been 2 years since I left the company I worked for. I was the lead service technician there, and I basically what it was. I thought, if I'm gonna be 43 at the time, I thought if I don't take a risk now and try to do my own thing again, I'm probably never gonna do it. So I talked to my wife, and she said do it, and so figured I'd give it a try. So it's been 2 years. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep going solo because I work well alone. I'm used to working alone.
Yeah.
A service technician, you work alone unless there's something you can't lift by yourself. So I'm used to working alone, and when I have a helper, and if he ends up watching this, Corey, I love you. But sometimes it's harder for me to think and concentrate, and it ends up slowing me down almost. Because I have a process, I know what needs done, and I don't mind doing it. But if you can, the problem is finding the right person.
Yeah.
I've worked with inexperienced people and trained them, and then they leave, or they get arrested, whatever things happen. It's just hard to find somebody. If I had another me, yeah, Corey. Corey's all right. He'll be fine. But I don't know where he's been lately. But
Pat, I knew you were going to do that. That's what I was laughing about.
But yeah, I mean, if I find the right person comes along, then great. But right now, that person's not there, and I'm doing fine, on my own. I'm just not sure. I like what I do. I like being hands on. I don't know if I want to become a manager of employees.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever want to be that kind of owner. So I don't really know. I've been thinking about that a lot because I'd like to have something that's established. That's not just me, that I have something for my kids, because my kids are never going to work for me. They're never going to be in the field. I don't think, maybe, but I've been asking myself that question, like, how do I do this in such a way that I have something to give my kids someday, where they can own it without turning wrenches, and really, like, they don't have to know everything I know about HVAC to own my business in my absence someday. I don't know how to do that or what that looks like, but if anybody has any ideas, let me know.
Have you considered that maybe a day in the truck and a little bit of know-how might help them appreciate what their potential employees in the future might be going through? I mean, if you look at the fact that if you look at some of your journey into this and someone taking you under and you learning, you say that you have a kind of a process of how you do things. I remember when I got out of tech school, they had me so gassed up with creating a career portfolio, which I had no real career to present, but it was part of the curriculum for me to get an associate's. I had business, math, and all that jazz. So I created that. And when I got out of tech school and I went and applied at Steak and Shake, they had me so gassed up that I was really proud to actually show this book to my potential employer who I was interviewing with. And I was like, here's my career portfolio. All that was in there was really everything I earned in certificates from school. And he was like, great. He opened it, looked at the first page, the middle page, the last page, shoved it back to me, said, great, you don't know shit. Right. Yeah. And he's like, but you don't have any bad habits, and I have my own process, and I want you to learn that. Yeah. So maybe Corey, maybe someone else, you do have a process, and if maybe they're not the best helper, but maybe you just need to show them how you want things done, you know, and maybe they will be great. It might be that diamond in the rough, that Corey or someone else that, is just, you think is a good helper, but maybe they just need to see things your way, and maybe you need to understand how they learn and what their competencies are or can be and potential and whatnot. But I know a lot of business owners, kids who've taken over, and I know some who have got some skin in the game and who's learned a little bit. and some who just got the business. And, I'll say that the ones who did take the time to learn a little bit, the parents put them through the paces, were respected more by the staff than ones who were just given the business and don't know the plight of what the technicians are going to go through, whether they work bookkeeping, whether they work dispatching, whether they ride along, whether they carry tools. They don't have to be technicians, but they do need to understand and respect what the staff is going to go through. Just my opinion, and that stuff you're going to have to figure out whether or not you feel, do I want to continue to do this? You're going to have to learn to love what you do. And it sounds like you like what you do, and you don't know if you want to be a manager of people. But at the end of the day, you might get good enough to hire that one person that is a manager of people and that will take it on for you. And you don't have to stress about, having to deal with people all the time and whatnot. But there could be something very viable there. And if you have a family, you have a built-in workforce, you have a wife and children that might want to do the books, want to learn some business, stuff like that. And it is a good legacy to want to leave something to your children. There's nothing wrong with that, but you definitely don't want them to not appreciate it or understand where, what you went through to get there. So that was my thing for the night.
Hey, right on. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I'm not opposed. Matter of fact, my youngest daughter, she's a lot like me. She's really smart. She has her own toolbox. She fixes stuff. She comes with me once in a while. And I don't like push her. Because I don't want to push her into it. I want her to get into something that she wants to do.
Sure.
She's only 10, but I take her with me and she knows what I do. She knows what I'm getting into, and she knows what work is. And she's helped me out quite a few times, just carrying stuff, paying attention. I teach her little things. And I think she could be a service technician. I think she's got the natural skill set to do that. But I'm not going to push her in that direction, but I'm going to expose her to the trade and see if she's for that, because I think she'd do very well. And I think she would really enjoy it. Because she's like me and I enjoy it. I love this stuff. I really do. And my wife does the books, so that's helpful.
Oh, that works, man. That's I said, a built-in employee.
Yeah.
So my youngest daughter, when I worked at Steak and Shake, I used to bring all those Amana microwaves home, and at the time, I wasn't making really good money at all. So I was scrapping a lot of metal and copper and stuff like that. So she'd be so happy to help me take apart microwaves. And actually, I brought some home, and at the time, I wasn't thinking, I might not be that safe, but she was helping me fix them. And it was just more putting them back together, not dealing with the Magnetron and all that stuff. But she was very interested in that. So I always tell myself, if I do want to do something someday, I kind of have a little built-in workforce at home myself. So, but not there yet.
Right
That's
on.
what Rich is doing. He's got his own little built-in workforce.
Yep. He's got his wife and kid. Yeah. His son's working. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the trades don't have to be, it's male dominated, but there's plenty of great female technicians out there killing
Absolutely.
it.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. They may have, they're going to figure out leverage now. That's what people always ask me, can women do your job? I'm like, yeah, they're going to do my job, but when it comes to some things, they're just going to figure out leverage. I'm like, get a cheater bar, get a pipe or something, you're going to have to get an equalizer. But other than that, you can do everything I can do. If you can think for yourself, if you can read a meter, if you can use a computer to figure something out or find something, I was like, you can do my job. My job's not hard. It's just, you got to apply yourself just like everything else.
Yeah. And there's plenty of representation out there, like HVAC chicks and the rest of, a lot of, so there's a lot of representation out there if she's just not thinking, well, dad, because I know my kids look at me like, ugh.
Yeah.
But that's cool, man.
So if you were working on someone's furnace, they had like a 13 or 14-year-old kid, and he came out and asked you about your job, and if it was worth doing, what would you tell him or her?
If they asked about my job, I would say I love my job because I get to do something different every day.
Mm-hmm.
I get to be my own boss. I make a decent living, feed my family. My wife does have a job, but not because she has to, because she wants to contribute. It's important for her to be able to contribute. So she does work now. But I love what I do, and it's always challenging. I think that's what kids today, like young kids, they want to be challenged, but they don't think they want to be challenged.
Yeah.
And they don't understand, like, if I'm working on the furnace in the kid's house, he's interested in that because he knows that's what keeps the house warm.
Mhm.
And he may not be able to articulate it, but he's kind of curious about how it does that. So yeah, I've done that before with young kids in homes. Like, hey, this is how this works. The first thing that happens is it checks to make sure all the safeties are open or closed, and then this happens, and the hot surface igniter comes on, and then and just take them through the sequence of operations. Show them how to change the air filter. I had a customer one time. He was diagnosed with some kind of muscular disease, and he wasn't going to be able to climb up in the attic to change the filter, which is where the filter was in this situation. So he had his son. His son was probably like 8 years old, but he was preparing him to be the man of the house because he was going to be in a wheelchair. So that kid followed us around, and that kid was really sharp. It was really something to see that kid take the initiative. Like, I need to know this because my dad isn't going to be able to do this. And he asked questions about how the heat pump worked, where the filter was, and all these things. And we set him up to do that job because his dad wasn't going to be able to do it. But yeah, I think I would love to go to high schools and middle schools and teach kids, expose them to the trades because they don't know it exists. They don't, the kids don't, they don't have tech, tech classes at high schools anymore. Shop
Hopefully
classes, stuff like
Hopefully
that.
they'll come back.
Yeah, they are in some places, but it's not enough. You guys, everybody knows about the huge shortage we have of service technicians
Absolutely.
and people in blue collar trades in general. I remember one time I was at a church doing a talk to some kids, and I took my oxyacetylene torch in there and I fired it up in the church for the kids, and like, this is what I get to do at work. And they were like, wow, that's awesome. And I was like, yes, you need to think about being an HVAC. And probably some of the adults were like, what are you doing? I was like, don't worry, I'm a professional. But I got the kids' attention, and they thought it was great. They're like, wow, that's really neat. You get to play with fire in people's houses. I'm like, yes, I do. And I always have a fire extinguisher nearby because I'm not stupid. But yeah, I mean, this is such a great field. I mean, because you can do so many different things. If you're really sharp and you like that kind of thing, you can be an engineer. We need engineers to spec things for hospitals and buildings and things. And we need people out there turning wrenches. We need people installing boilers. We need all kinds of people doing all kinds of different things. And nobody knows these jobs are out there and that they pay really well. Yeah. I think that's a tragedy.
They pay damn good.
That's my
they pay all right. It's the best paying job I ever had.
Yeah, that's my whole thing, is just to try to promote, all the trades. I like to focus on my little niche, but it's the same thing. I always tell everybody, they'd ask me like, "Oh, that job exists?" I'm like, "Dude, I make a lot of money doing this job." Like, people don't realize like the equipment in the restaurant. They've never been in the restaurant. Don't realize that that one fryer is like $8,000 to $10,000 for a single. And then if you got 6 fryers, you're looking at $50,000-$60,000 set of fryers. You don't. Yeah. If one breaks, you don't throw it away. You fix it like that.
Yeah, buddy. You walk in there, you're a big deal.
Like,
make stuff happen.
Like what you do, Jason. I mean, you have stores. You're like, okay, you got to figure out, okay, this fryer is this old. Is it time to replace it? Is it time to fix it? You're looking at life cycle reports, that kind of thing.
Yep.
That fryer, I mean, they used to say 7 years. I think they're saying like 10 years for a piece of equipment now. Like generally 7 to 10 years, and then after that, it's like, okay, let's start thinking about replacing this and getting rid of it. So,
yeah, on average, I approve. In replacement, probably 6 figures every other day, and in repair, half that every other day. So it's I got to make those decisions: repair versus replacement. Spread over 100+ stores with a ridiculous amount of equipment to track. But yeah, it's all relevant.
Jason, you're in Tampa?
Yes, sir.
So I actually lived in Jacksonville for a year.
Oh, okay.
And I went to a Bible college there for a year. And when I was there, I got hired as maintenance staff because I had HVAC experience. So this is a funny story. So I got to meet the head of maintenance, right? And he was a guy who owned an HVAC company in that area. And he's like, well, we're going to go work on this rooftop unit. I was like, oh, cool. So we go to this rooftop unit. He's like, yeah, it's got a leak. I was like, all right. So I'm like thinking we're going to fix the leak or something. And he didn't have hardly any tools. He just had a jug of R22 and a hose. So he pulls the panel off of this train with the reciprocating compressors, the big orange pumpkins. He hooks up the hose to the suction line, turns the bottle upside down, and just opens it up and just stands there and talks to me for like 5 minutes. There's no gauge.
Did you just see the gas leaking out of a coil somewhere, or is everyone
I have
huffing
no
inside
idea.
the building?
I'm just looking at him like, what is happening? And he's just shoving liquid straight into the compressor, and I'm just standing there looking at him like, I was hoping to learn something from this man. Like, he owns his own business. He's like 60 years old, I'm thinking he has all this knowledge, and he's doing this, and I'm just looking at him like, huh, that's different.
Man, was his name Chuck?
I can't remember the guy's name. It may as well have been. I was like, what is happening here? Like, this is how they do it in Florida? He didn't even have gauges. I was like, what are you doing, man?
It's funny. Florida's funny, but I mean, you can go to one state or another. Like, I think Maine, Carolinas, you don't need like a big state license to be a contractor. You need your EPA license, which you can read a book to get that. But Florida, for as many Chucks and trucks and cousins that are here, and how hard it is to pass your business and your engineering aspect of these and the background and all that jazz to become a licensed HVAC contractor here. There's a lot of Chuckies and Truckies here, man. And people do what they do. And then a lot of business owners here, they just work under someone else's license. Shoot, I was even talking to my wife about that the other day. I'm like, man, I swear I could just do so much more if I was able to do it hands-on, and I just know so many businesses, and it's just like, I better not go that route. Mm-hmm. We were talking about it in our group chat, but I did a similar thing with at my church. I'm on the safety team, and they consider that a ministry. So they have greeting, parking lot, children, youth, safety, and the different things. And I remember writing on the application, and I've been going to that church since Easter 2019, facilities. And they're like, there is no ministry for facilities. I'm like, but I really want to help. And they're like, yeah, you're on safety. and yet, if there's an issue with the ice machine or the AC, they call me and whatnot. And I really wanted to get enough. I didn't want a paying job. I like volunteering. I volunteer at my church. I love being in safety. I love taking care of the kids, my kids in there. But I really wanted to do some maintenance related stuff for the church, but I'm happy in safety and whatnot. But it's funny enough you mentioned that.
I thought all the HVAC guys ran the soundboard.
I don't know. The soundboard guys are the soundboard guys. You worked sound and light and sounds?
Dude, I do it all.
Yeah.
I've done everything. I've taught every class. I love a challenge. So the soundboard is the ultimate challenge, though, because it will never behave. It never does what it's supposed to do.
I've never ventured into the soundboard and lighting of church. After I've started doing safety and I get to quasi be a maintenance tech when they need me to, I've been pretty happy with that for the most part.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, we have been going forever. We were like a half hour past normal time, man. It's great. It's great just to talk with you, Scott. I like what you do online. Sometimes you're serious, sometimes you're not. You don't know which direction you're going.
It's hard for me to be serious. I have to really try.
But life is too good to be serious, man.
You're enjoying it, though. I mean, that's a good thing. And you're showing what you do.
Yeah. There's too many other people being serious on Instagram. I can't take Instagram seriously. I'm serious when I'm talking and helping my customers out, but on Instagram, it's not that serious.
Dude, TikTok is where I like to be a clown, and I'm trying not to be a clown as much, so but yeah, I get it. But I really appreciate you taking time to come on and talk about your story.
I had fun.
You bounced around, you did a bunch of different things, and you came back to what your heart is really set on and what you want to do, and you know what you want to do, and you're enjoying what you do, and that's what it's all about. As long as you enjoy what you do, life's a lot easier, man. No one wants to work and suffer every day. Like, go to work, and if you love what you do, I mean, I don't know about you will never work a day in your life, but it makes things a lot easier for sure.
Yep. It's always a challenge, but I love it.
Nice.
For sure.
I will tag you and everything when this comes out, but you want to go ahead and tell people where they can find you if they want to come follow along and see what the HVAC see, I kept messing it up. HVACR is up to. You might want to spell it for them. I'll put it in the link in the description though when I do put this out.
I can't spell.
Is that what it is? You can't spell, so you messed up.
Yeah, that's why it's all screwed up, man.
So
It's AYETCHVACKER. That's my Instagram handle.
Nice, nice.
Found you. I'm following you now. Sorry about that.
Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate you.
I'm glad you started phonetically explaining that because I'm like
HVACR.
And then you started spelling it, so I started typing it, and I'm like, oh, there it is.
Initially, when I started my Instagram, it was just my name because I'm very boring and I'm not very creative. So I tried really hard to be creative and come up with something unique. And then no one could pronounce it, but I don't care. It is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, once you say it, like, okay, it makes sense. But
yeah,
it's more like a Canadian thing, like
Hey.
Exactly.
Well, I'm not that far away from Canada, so
Nice. Well, I appreciate you coming on.
yeah, man.
It's really cool catching up and hearing your story. It's pretty fun, that you bounced around a couple different states and you found your way back home and just doing your own little thing and enjoying it, man. That's all.
Yeah, it's an adventure. It's been fun.
All right, man. Well, have a good night.
Yeah. Thanks, Pat. Thanks, Jason. You guys take care.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.
If you guys would, please consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing the podcast. It really helps us grow and helps us know which direction to move in. Also, if you have any suggestions for guests, please email me at commercialkitchenchronicles@gmail.com. Or if you want to be a guest, email me. Love to have you guys on. Thanks a lot. See you next week.